Well, good evening from St. Louis. It's a rather pleasant evening across the bi-state region. We've seen all the showers and thunderstorms that were well to our south essentially fall apart across our area through the evening hours. And now we have some quiet time. Outlying areas starting to drop back into the 60s in town. As of 9 o'clock, we're still above 70 degrees, but I think we all get down into the upper 50s and lower 60s, and probably the coolest weather will end up being northeast of St. Louis overnight. All the thunderstorms that we saw develop down to our south today, everything's moved away. There's still some down into Tennessee at this late hour, but now we're turning our attention to what's to come as we head into Friday afternoon, Friday evening, especially after the evening rush hour in St. Louis. Now, north and west of St. Louis, starting as early as, say, 5 o'clock, there is the potential we'll see some isolated showers or thunderstorms bubbling up north and west of St. Louis, or perhaps that line getting closer. It'll be an evolving situation tomorrow. We'll see how the storms initiate, how they get started, and where they get started. And a lot of that, when and where they get started, will dictate where we're going with the actual timeline. But those storms will have ingredients available to produce strong winds. And in this case, we think there could very well be some 60-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts, whereas with the storms that came through on Wednesday night, it was mostly on the lower end of the 40 to 60. We might have some 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds. We may have a few of those cells that are able to produce some hail, and it's not out of the question that there would be an isolated tornado or two. So the threats are all there for us, right? So just stay following along for the updates. Make sure you're staying tuned, staying weather aware. Have your safe plan, know your safe place. Don't cancel any events tomorrow night, but definitely be weather aware. Now, here's the risk area from the Storm Prediction Center. This will get updated in the wee hours here on Friday morning. But there's a pretty large area that is in this level 3 risk that extends from Wisconsin down into Oklahoma. There's a couple of areas within this area that we, in the Weather Impact Weather Center, see as being potentially more problematic. Down here, Kansas and Oklahoma, that's one spot because the ingredients seem to be better there for some of the thunderstorms. We've seen that, the dry lines there. And then the actual storm system will be tracking across Iowa, heading towards Wisconsin. So up here across Iowa, northern Illinois, into southern Wisconsin, that's an area where you have localized better ingredients available. Not to say that the ingredients here just north and west of St. Louis aren't in that magnitude, because some of them are, but those are the areas where we would tend to focus better chances for severe thunderstorms, or at least better chances for more of the storms being strong to severe. But listen, as these things go up, they're going to start merging, they're going to start interacting with each other. How fast that happens and how exactly they merge and work together and interact with each other is going to dictate a lot going into tomorrow evening. One thing's for sure, whatever we end up with, whether it's a truly linear complex like a line, straight line of thunderstorms, or broken clusters of thunderstorms, as they get past east and south of St. Louis, the risk for severe weather will be dropping off. Okay, now there's a lot of energy with this. It is spinning tonight over the Intermountain region here out west. Upper levels getting some snow, and that energy is going to slide into the plains tomorrow. At the same time, we are warm, we are somewhat muggy. We should be back into the low and mid 80s, and we think during the afternoon and evening hours, you're going to see those thunderstorms blossom here pretty much in a line, or at least close to a line, from Wisconsin through eastern Iowa into north central, northwest Missouri, and then down into southeast Kansas. Now, we can't also rule out, say, 4 or 5 o'clock, a couple of isolated storms developing out ahead of the main line, especially from the metro area north and northwest. That remains to be seen. But if that happens, there is the potential that they could become severe because they are lone storms. They're not interacting with other storms, and they're not competing with other storms for the ingredients. So here we are towards 10, 11 o'clock on Friday night, and we're starting to see those showers and thunderstorms weaken considerably as they push off to the east and southeast of St. Louis. A lot of cool air is coming in behind this system, right? We're only going to see temperatures on Saturday right around 60 degrees for most of the day. It's going to be chilly. All right, so overnight, We don't think much is happening tonight. Skies mostly clear now. They should become partly cloudy as we head towards daybreak. Now, we are making that transition back to more of the warm flow and the warmer air coming back in again tomorrow. So we think temperatures will be about 3 to 5 degrees warmer. And that transition in the morning may generate a couple of isolated showers. Don't think it's going to be anything widespread, but it's not out of the question. This is, as we go towards 4 or 5 o'clock, this is where, something will try to pop. Will we be able to keep the cap on it and keep it from popping initially? We will see. But eventually we know that the area of showers and thunderstorms will be approaching from the north and west. Now, something interesting, that this is the latest computer run that just came in, okay? So, this is the first time literally I'm getting a chance to look at it because it literally just came in a few minutes ago. This is around 8 o'clock or so. See this little thin line there that's out ahead of the main area? That is the computer trying to model or imitate the outflow boundary. If the outflow boundary gets running out ahead of these storms, then that can weaken the storms themselves faster because it pulls in the cooler air, drags the cooler air out ahead of the storms, and then the storms aren't ingesting that warm, muggy air. But the other thing we also see is this is a little wavy, and that's also an indication of some stronger winds. So we might see the northern storms try to weaken a little sooner than what comes at us from mid-Missouri as it pushes on to the east. That does look like it's surging through between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock or so, maybe midnight, with some gusty winds. But then after that, the severe threat diminishes across our region, and while there may still be some heavy rain south and east of St. Louis, our threat for severe weather eases. All right, Friday's window for severe storms will start 5 to 8 o'clock up here in the northwest portions of our viewing area. That's Bowling Green, Troy, back towards Herman, Warrenton. We'll say 7 to 11 in St. Louis. We give it such a large window because there is the opportunity. The models sometimes speed things up a little bit. Or I should say Mother Nature speeds the model output up a little bit. What actually happens sometimes is a little faster. Now, if the storms don't start flaring, then they may be a little behind. But a lot of times with these higher resolution models, the storms do tend to form on the model a little bit after they actually form in real life. So Mother Nature is sometimes a little ahead of us. We do think that south and east of St. Louis, your threats are mainly after 10:30, 11 o'clock, and those threats will be much lower, and the opportunity for severe weather very much on the low side compared to what you're looking at farther north and west. So it's going to be a day where things evolve, things may change. Gary will get you caught up to speed early in the morning on today in St. Louis, and then Tracy will be here midday, and Lance and I and Gary will probably still be back in here tomorrow night. And we'll keep you posted on everything that's going to happen weather-wise across the region. We know it's certainly going to be active tomorrow, but right now it's pretty nice around the area.